Hello everyone, this is Daniel with Coin Help You, and today we're going to look at cleaned Morgan dollars. Do you know if your Morgan dollar is clean or not? We're going to look at several examples and we're going to explore the possibility of a Morgan being cleaned and a Morgan being original and a few details about it. So thanks for watching my latest video, and please like, share, and comment, and click the little bell beside the subscribe button. So let's get to looking at some of these images and explore what an original Morgan looks like versus a clean Morgan. I also want to add really quick, I do have a video on should you send your Morgan in for grading, and also a few grade reveals that show some graded Morgans, and I do some exploring on the clean versions as well. So take a look at those and check those out. I'll have some links in the video here. This is an image of an original Carson City GSA, and it's actually an 1884 CC. The thing about Morgan dollars, and any coin for that matter, is that dependent on the era that it was struck, minted in, let's say, what mint it was minted from, it also depends on how the dies were annealed, how the surfaces of the die's face and the devices were, let's say, etched or polished. All of those are factors that can determine what an original Morgan dollar looks like, or what any date and mint can potentially look like before it ever leaves the mint. This coin looks like it's never left the mint. It has an extra frosty appearance to it. Now, that's not unheard of for the CCs, especially your 82s, 83s, and 84s. You see that a lot. Now, I've seen 85 CCs that didn't have this frosty appearance, but yet they're still original. So you have to take that into consideration, what a coin looks like before it ever left that mint. That's to be noted because some of them are going to look a little bit different, and to some people's eyes they may look cleaned, but they're not. That's when you get into Morgan dollars that are polished. Let's say the dies are polished, and that can confuse some people. And then let's say about cameo. Some of them, if they have a cameo appearance and others don't, it's very important to take that into consideration. The strike can be weak on certain years, especially New Orleans mints, but it's not always just a New Orleans mint. So you have to know all of these things, exactly how much of the die and how much that was, when the die was created, what was done to that die that affects the original surfaces in the first place before the coin's ever touched or ever in collectors' hands. Now I want to show everyone, this is an original Morgan dollar. This has all original surfaces, and we're looking at an 1885-0. Now, different mints do have different finishes. They did different treatments on the dies. And we know this, and we know some are better strikes than others. We know some of the die finishes were better than others. Here's the reverse. And then, you know, also another thing to take in consideration, these coins were sometimes stacked in cabinets, they were in rolls, they were in bags, and there's a lot of abrasions, marks. They were actually shoveled with coal shovels. They weren't handled very well. They were thought of as basically a bullion type coin for backing the dollar at the time. I mean, you could go down and take a dollar bill and get you a silver dollar for it. It was a silver certificate. Here is another example. This is a 1896, and it's from the Philadelphia Mint because it doesn't have the mint mark on the back. It's also an original coin. So as I was saying, as far as the rubs, you're looking at rubs, you can see on here above the ear, it's already not completely struck, and that means this planchet metal, as far as the striking pressure is concerned, did not completely fill in the die cavity. So the details are lacking there. So we've seen coins that are original. Now we're going to look at some coins that are cleaned. These are borderline coins. In other words, some people would sell these as being problem free, and they would make sure there was light on the cheek, and then they would rotate it in Photoshop so that it looks like there's no problem areas. My theory on these coins is that the only thing that could really strip the original surface off a coin would be a little hydrochloric acid of some sort, or any type of acid, This cheek should not be that dark. And what we're going to do, I'll bring over one of the original ones again and I'll show you. And they're in the same lighting, the same field of view. And you can see the difference. They're a little larger than my field of view here, but I will try to get them in here best I can. Look at the difference. The lighting is exactly the same. It's coming from the same direction. And I'll show you all, case in point. We'll move it this way. We'll switch in positions here and I'll show you. Can you see the difference? It should be frosty all over. It shouldn't have the deepness. Now, if this was in the fields and not on the cheek, let's say this was what it looked like compared, and then the fields were kind of deep, then you could say it was semi-proof like. And we can look at an example of that. But my point is that it should not have, this is stripped off so it's actually absorbing a lot of light. Because whenever they etch the surface of this area of the die cavity, it created little pinpoints and peaks and valleys that reflect a lot of light. And since silver is highly reflective, then you're seeing that. Here, that has been removed. Those little peaks and valleys are gone. So all the light is absorbed into that metal and that alloy. Here's another example. This one, same treatment. Same thing, same issues we're seeing here on this one. And here I'll show you. I just switch positions so that you know that the lighting is the same. It's nothing to do with the lighting, although you can do this. And I see this done on eBay. They'll make sure that it looks like this. And they'll sell it like that. And they'll tell you it's BU, almost uncirculated or whatever. They'll try to hide that big old mark on the cheek. And then whenever you want a refund or complain, they're like, well, I didn't know, I'm new at this, or I'm not a grader or professional, it's my opinion. You know, well, you don't want to deal with people like that. You don't want to have anything to do with any seller that makes those kind of claims. Now, what we're going to do here, and I'm going to show you what I was talking about. This one here is got the deeper fields. They were polished more, as you can see. That's normal as well, but this is not. When the cheek starts looking like that, it's almost a dead giveaway that the coin's been cleaned. And obviously, this got some marks on it, but like this one, it's not so per se a harsh clean with a brush or anything, or with a wire brush, or with a Brillo pad, or whatever they might use, a Brasso. But yet it is clean. You know that somebody did something to that coin. So this is an original. This one has some PL surfaces to it. And here's the reverse. You know, it's a pretty nice coin. And I'll show you the reverse of this one. Often they were using different chemicals on these coins and altering these coins because they wanted to remove unsightly marks on the cheek to make the cheek look smoother so it looks a higher grade. Of course, it backfires whenever you remove the original surface, because grading companies and also experts and coin collectors became very wise to the coin doctors. So we're going to look at a couple more examples of Morgan dollars that are cleaned or have some type of issue. I'll point them out for you just in case, but hopefully we can see these right here. And there are marks this way as well. Someone has messed with this coin. Here's the marks here. You can see them here. In certain lighting, it's obvious. And that's all it's going to take. You send this coin to PCGS or NGC or Annex, every one of them is going to grade it cleaned. Guaranteed it's a details. It'll be an unk detail coin. I don't see where they did much on the reverse. Looks like it's okay on the reverse. But you can obviously see the clean lines whenever it's at certain angles. And that's a very important thing to do when you're grading these coins. You have to turn it at different angles in the lighting and use a little bit of magnification to make sure that the coin's not clean. That's why when you buy online, it's not always safe to buy online. Here's another one. This coin here is what I call a fire coin. This coin was in a fire. It was in some type of PVC or plastic container, whether it was a flip or maybe those Mylar 2x2s, and that melted onto this coin. It was removed later on, or cleaned, to try to remove it. Well, it actually embedded into the surface. It actually chemically bonded with it. And here's the reverse. Some people would think this was a fake coin. You know, it weighs okay. I didn't identify the VAM, but the letters and the date and all look fine to me. It doesn't stick to a magnet. It goes down the slide like it should. It does have some issues, but it was under some extreme heat at one time. And that's the reason it looks like this. So I hope this helped a lot of you understand how to identify a clean Morgan dollar a little bit better, and what to look for, maybe even to grade, and what processes that these go through. So anyways, thanks for watching my latest video, and have a great day.